All right, so I am Jason Marshall, and I am an Ed Tech TOSA. So I get to work every day with Martha Felix and Melissa Price and Jeneth. I mean, come on, I'm a lucky guy. This is my first year in the district, but it's my 22nd year teaching. So kind of been around for a bit. And I've been all over the place. I've done different things. It's like a lot of you. I've taught history in middle school. I've taught yearbook. I've coached basketball. I've taught elective courses, and I've been a TOSA for 8 of those 22 years. And I've been in 5 different districts. I've been around. My wife keeps telling me whenever she says she wants to move, I just say, I'm like a robot. I just do whatever she says. So when she gets that, that little itch, I scratch it. We pack up the 4 kids and the dogs and cat, and we leave. So hopefully she'll let me stick around for a bit, because so far, even though it's been a weird start to the year, I'm loving it here, and very lucky. Let's move on. Enough about me. Let's look at Schoology. That's right. It's a learning management system. There's a little blurb about it, and if you want to really make Jeneth mad, call it Schoology. She won't get mad, but she will definitely cringe a little bit. And so we make sure that we call it Schoology whenever we can around her. Here's our agenda for the day. We're going to look at the navigation and course setup. So just kind of get a feel for it, the interface, and kind of setting up our course. We're going to touch on communication tools, and we're going to look at courses and content, how to organize and structure a course, and how to add a couple of different materials. So that's pretty exciting stuff. There's a lot packed in here. This is a really nifty little graphic. That's right. It's a nifty graphic. There's a lot to take in here, a lot to unpack, but I really want to focus on, that's right, the endless possibilities. Oh boy, I don't even work for Schoology. I mean, there's got to be an end to them. There's got to be. But we'll go over all of these things today. I'm not going to read this to you. Let's move on. There are 3 main areas of Schoology that we'll touch upon today. We're going to start in the bottom left, the orange. So the courses, that's the backbone to the Schoology LMS, and that's where you distribute materials and give assignments, receive them. You can grade them there, of course. You can make announcements. There's a calendar. It's good stuff. Let's go to the next one over to the right. We're going to mess up this whole little graphic. We're going to go to groups. That's a place where you can communicate and collaborate outside of the classroom. You can set up your own little groups. It's good for clubs and teams, and like for your grade level teams, your department level teams, parents. So it's like your own little group outside of the course. And then you have the resources, which is like your file cabinet where you can find materials and share them with others. And it's pretty awesome. There's some power in the resources. So we'll go over that too. Different types of content available in Schoology. We have informational and interactive. So if you look at the screen, you'll see some informational content, such as folders, file uploads, links pages, and media albums. You're just giving information to your disciples, your participants, your kiddos. That's right. So that's a way you can disseminate information, but then there's this interactive piece where we have discussions, assignments, assessments, and then media albums as well. So that's how we can interact with our students. Yeah, it's robust. And it's time to dig in. Now, I don't know if you went and grabbed this link to the slide deck. The slide deck's kind of whatever. There's not a lot to it. That's the last slide. But you're going to want this. So what I'm going to do, let me see. I'm going to copy this link address and I'm going to put it in the chat, because this is like a little page of notes. Let's see if that works. So it's in the chat. You might want to open that up because it's this. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that's nice. Look at that. This is a document that will outlive me. Well, I don't know. It sounds so morbid. Like when we're done today, you'll be able to refer to this, and there's links and couple little videos here and there. And so there's some information for you to soak in. So you can keep that. Yeah, you can print it and you can just have it around for your viewing pleasure. Oh, someone's in the waiting room, darn. So let's first start in with logging into Schoology. Hopefully you want to follow along, and maybe it would be a good idea for you to log in as well. There are a couple of ways. One is to go to class link. So you can just go to your class link, log in, and then select Schoology. So that's an easy way. Hopefully you are aware of that. Oh boy, everyone has to look away now because you're going to see my picture. That's right. It was chopsticks. Okay, so now if I...
Sorry, how do we go to class link?
Oh, it's in your staff bookmarks. So if you are on a district computer, you go up to your NMUSD staff bookmarks in the top right or top left corner, for me at least. I'm using Chrome as my browser, yeah. So it'll be at the top. Now that's one way. Another way is just to type in the link. So, oh, this is embarrassing. Yeah, that was my lunch break looking at puppies and chickens. They're so cute. Okay, so if I want to type in a link, it's in the notes. And you can just type in nmusd.schoology.com. That's another way. I've been training myself to use Schoology. Oh, I'm sorry, class link. I want to get in that routine because that's what we're doing. So I myself have been trying to get into that routine as well, but you can just type in the link. And again, it's on that document I shared. So is there anyone who needs... Oh, good. Siggy shared the link to the class link as well. It's in the chat. Thank you, Siggy. Fantastic. All right. Full steam ahead. Let's do this. We're going to start by just checking out the interface. We're going to take just a broad brush approach, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense, but we're going to start up here in the top left corner. So in the top left corner, you have the Newport Mesa button. This will get you back to this screen, to your recent activity. So this is kind of like your home button. It gets you back here. Then you have courses, groups, and resources. We're going to look at all those in a bit. Now I'm going to hit my Newport Mesa button again and go back to we'll call it my recent activity. And you can see that the recent activity it's the landing page. So when you log in, it's going to take you right here. And it looks like an information feed. So if I scroll down, I can see that it lists any updates that and information from any groups or courses that I belong to. So I have a bunch of them. They just keep going. I can hit more and keep going. And the most recent one will be on top, which makes sense. So that's your information feed. The students see the same thing. Any courses or groups they belong to, they will see any updates are posted here or announcements. We'll talk about the difference between those in a little bit. You as a teacher can post things here. You can post an update from here by clicking update. And if you type in a post, don't forget to bring your lunch tomorrow. And I just click post. I have to select who to post it to. So let's say post it here. I select my class. And I can post it. And there it is. Now that's just silly. I'm going to delete it because it's just kind of silly. The other thing you can do here, let me go back. We can post assignments, events on a calendar. So you can do a lot of work here. If I were in the classroom, I don't know that I would use this. I like things in a structure. I like to follow a certain structure. So I would post assignments in my course. I would open up a course and post them there. Same with an update and a calendar event. I would be within the course, but geez, you can do it all right here. You can do this for all of your classes all in one spot. Off to the right, you'll see an overdue on my screen, overdue, reminders, and upcoming. So this is what students will see. I'm a student in some classes. Yes, you only have the ability, Siggy, to post announcements within your courses. Some admin have the ability to post globally to all the students, or they can choose which group of students to post to. But as teachers, you have your own course. That's it, which is probably a good thing. It's like having too many keys on your key ring. It's like, just give me one key. I just want to be able to get in the building. I don't want a key to every office. It's just too much. So overdue is what kids will see if they have any assignments that are overdue. Reminders, this is what you see as a teacher. These are going to be things that you need to grade. Student submissions. So I have 3 ungraded assignments that I have to grade. So that's just a little notification there. And then we have upcoming. So upcoming is a list of items that the teacher has assigned with a due date. As long as there's a due date attached to anything that the teacher is assigning, it's going to show up here in upcoming. So these are coming up. All right, good. 2 of these 3 are for student view. And if I bounce over to my fake student account, this is a fake student account right here. You can see that the students also have the activity feed. They also have the overdue, and this one has nothing coming up. So it's a very similar look to what the teacher sees. Okay, and then next up, top right corner, we have the notification button. So that will show any student work that's been completed, like assignments, discussions, etc. So you'll get notifications will pop up here. You can see Ricky, he submitted something last month. All right, and then we have the message button. So that's private messages between teachers and students, between a teacher and a student. So if I type a new message, you will see that I can type a name of someone in my network, and then I can add a subject and a message. Last I heard, the settings allow for student to student messaging as well. I don't know if that's still the case if they're in the same course. There's been a little confusion, but I believe if they're in the same course, they can message each other, but not outside of that course. So I can't just message my buddy who's in a different class. Okay. Then we have a calendar. So the calendar is up here as well. This is pretty cool. You can see, you can filter it to show only certain calendars. If I click on a day, let's say the 21st, if I click it, I can now post an event by filling in this information. We'll go over these different fields later, but I can also post an assignment here from my calendar. I personally, that's not how my brain will work. I wouldn't do it that way. I'll show you the way that I would post assignments, but that's just one way you can do it straight from your calendar by clicking on the actual day. The next button is your App Center. There's not a lot going on in the App Center right now. I have Edpuzzle set up. There's some back-end work involved for the App Center. And then we have a search button. The search tool is for any posted items, any courses, groups, you can do a search. So any posted items, like an assignment, for example, you can search for it. You can search for your class, which is silly. You can search for any groups, but you can also do that up here. Okay, lots of information. Pretty soon I'm gonna have you do something at least. I'm having Schoology not into classic. You don't have tools. I have tools because I have a different level account permissions than you do. Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys kind of play around in a second. And then Jose is having trouble logging into Schoology. I've tried resetting your password through Schoology. So Jose, you can get into class link, but it's not letting you get into Schoology.
That's correct.
I'm not sure. Do either of you have an idea why a teacher could get into ClassLink but not into their Schoology. Are you a rostered teacher, Jose?
I'm AP, an assistant principal.
Oh, that's why. Wait, well, he's an assistant principal. Okay. Okay, so we'll have to make you an account. That's why, Jose. You know, I don't know anybody. It's nice to meet you. I've met like maybe less than 10 people in the 5 months that I've worked here. So, is there any way that how fast? Marta, M-A-T, you know Jose? Okay, all right, Martha's gonna work on that. I don't know, I'm looking over at your face over here, but yeah, okay. So let's move on. So right now, if you go up to the top right corner and click on your name, you can go to your profile. Everyone except Jose. And then this is where you can start adding some information. You can customize it a little bit. For example, if you want to edit your picture, you can just hover over your profile picture and choose edit picture. And then you can attach a file. I have a picture in here somewhere. Add that in. Sweet. So again, it's very simple. Edit picture, attach file, and you can find it. Or choose one of these other groovy pieces of artwork down below if you'd prefer. But it's kind of nice to have that personal touch. Your students will like to see your lovely faces. You can also edit your About Me, your bio information. So if you go to the top right corner and choose Edit, then you can edit your About Me, your interests and activities, and your contact information. So I don't know if you guys have done any of that yet, but here's what I want to do. I'm going to give everyone a couple of minutes to play around with their profile, and then that'll give Martha a chance to maybe work on Jose's, and then let's do it. So I'll give you a couple of minutes right now to work on editing your profile because it's kind of important, I think. Kids want to see that stuff. I'm going to start this little egg timer thing, which is pretty fun. Okay, time is up. Martha Felix is working on getting Jose and Eileen an account in Schoology, just because she's that great. She really is. So that's in the works. And then Jose, if you can reply in the chat, if you have a second to let me know what your district email is. For some reason, we're having trouble finding it. Okay, so let's move on. We are going to look at some more settings real quick, and then we'll start in. So if you go up to your name again in the top right corner and go to settings. Yeah, it's yeah. So you have account settings. You can look at some of these settings here. I'm not too worried about this page actually. So we're going to go to this tab called notifications. In notifications, you can determine which and how you are notified for which of these items. I'm not going to go through all these, obviously. That would be the worst. So you can shut those on, shut them off if you'd like. And then at the bottom, you'll have a Save Changes button. Privacy settings, same deal. You can determine how private you want these things locked down. I'm not going to make any recommendations. This is how mine is set up. I'm kind of a default guy. Yeah, they call me Jason Default Marshall. So typically whatever the settings are set by the district, I will just ride with them unless there's something that really irks me. Transfer history. The transfer history is, it shows any progress. It shows the content that's moved between courses and resources. So if you're ever shuffling things around from your courses that you teach to your resources, which is like your repository where you're saving things, it just tracks that. And then a recycle bin. So this is anything in here that has been deleted, you can choose to click the little settings button, the gear button, and select restore, and it'll bring it back to life. So kind of cool, kind of important. Just this recycle bin can save you lots of headaches. Let's get out of this and go up to courses. Oh, great. So Jose and Eileen, you are both now in the system. You have Schoology accounts. Thank you. So now if I go to courses, again, this is the only place where there's any form of accountability because that's the only place where you can collect work and score it. So this is where the kids and you have that piece. So you'll notice here that it only shows the top 12 courses. I have 12 listed here. If I go to the top right corner and select my courses, I can go in here and I can see that I have more than 12. There's a lot going on here. So what I can do is I can reorder them off to the right. So if I choose reorder courses, I can drag them wherever I want. And there's a line. See, courses that appear below this line will not appear in the courses drop down. So if there was something here that needed to be there, like say this one, Schoology for admins, I just drag it, drag it up. And now it'll be above the line. So it will show up when I click on courses. You can also look at courses that you have archived. You can also go over here and join a course or create one. We're going to create a sandbox course in a little bit. This is where we'll do it. And if you want to join someone else's course, say I make a sandbox course and I want John and Michael to join it, then I can give them the link, the code, and this is where they would input it. They would go to join a course, and then they would type in the code, and then they could be my students. Okay. Fantastic. Let's look at groups real quick. Groups are the communication and collaboration piece, two of my favorite C's, and they look similar to courses. You can see they look, it's like very similar layout. These are the groups that have been created, professional learning groups, an ed tech team, Florida Virtual School. We have that parent group, an ASB group. It could have a sports team if you're a coach, your group. So it's kind of cool if I go over to my groups, top right again. This looks very similar to the courses where I can reorder, I can join a group, I can create a group. Same idea. These are the groups that I am a participant in. These are school groups. I'm pretty sure you have access to your school only. So if I go to Estancia, or I don't know if all of you are from Estancia. I know that there were all but 2 or 3 signed up from Estancia. And then we have public groups. So these are groups that I can like, ooh, wow, I need to know, I want to join this STEM group. There's 17,641 members in this group. So this is how we can really share resources and share ideas, and I can really learn from these people, hopefully. Maybe they can learn from me. I can request to join. And then now I just wait for them to okay me. Okay, so if I go to my groups, it'll take a minute. I'm sure they'll let me in, right? So that's pretty powerful stuff. There's a large communal vibe to Schoology, which I like. And let's go to resources. Resources is actually probably my favorite. So this is where you can save materials. You can locate materials here. Yeah, there's a lot going on. So you can see here, off to the left, I have a search and then personal, public, group, apps. So I'm in my personal right now. These are my resources. So I have home, where I have a few resources here. I don't have anything in my learning objectives. I just haven't done that. I'm organizing them by state standards. I'm not doing that. Downloads. This is where I've downloaded a lot of resources. And I don't believe anything in public yet. And then here's my personal one I made. So I'm organizing them for myself. This is an organization system at this point. So I can, right now, maybe you should too, if you want, you can click this button. This will create a collection. So I'm going to add a collection. And I'm going to call this one Schoology 101. Now you can call it whatever you want. You don't have to make one, but I think it's a good practice. It's a good thing to dig into. So this is going to be a little folder, and it could be by content. It's up to you. So I'm going to make one for this PD. It's a little slow on the load here. Come on. Okay. So maybe I will try refreshing. See what happens. Hey, there it is. So right now it's empty, but it's there. It's waiting for content. All right. So I can go over here into public, for example, and let's say I'm a history teacher and I want to look up Civil War. I can type a search. I can filter it, do all these filters if I'd like, but just for the sake of time, I can do a search. And if I find something I like, I can dig into it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is looking nice. Look at all this. Holy cow, it's my whole semester. I don't have to do anything. I'm just gonna start posting this stuff. You better not. No way, man. We got to dig through this and make sure that we like it and make it our own. Which I'm preaching to the choir, right? I don't just want to use somebody else's stuff without vetting it thoroughly first. So let's say I like this. I've really spent a lot of time looking at this and losing sleep over it. Well, right now I can click this button and it was just added. So the question is, where was it added? So I can go back to personal. Is it in my downloads? Let's see. Civil War. There it is. Fancy that. So here's the deal. How about I give you guys a minute or do we need 2 minutes? Just to search a little bit, maybe find something that tickles your fancy. That's right, we're in resources and we went to public and then you can do a search. So why don't you do that? Because if you have to sit and listen to me for an hour straight, you're gonna lose it. I'm gonna start that timer for 2 minutes and go for it.
So we're in personal and then public, and then where are we entering something we want to search?
So if you go to public, you right in here in the search at the top, you just type it in there. And then if you want to really fine tune it, you could go through all this filter process and filter it out. But
I clicked on public, but I don't see a search box or a rectangle up there.
you don't see a search where I'm hovering right now. You don't see it.
I see yours, but not mine. I clicked on public and it doesn't change.
Do you see a list of anything pulling up?
It says home, learning objectives, downloads, public.
I think you're still on personal. So go, oh, you see this right here? Go to public right here on the left. I think you were clicking this public. Click the one on the far left. Do you see that button? That should do it.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir. And then you should see the search.
Thank you.
Yep, for sure. Wow. Starbucks did me right today. That's good. That is good stuff. Okay. So yes, Schoology resources is pretty cool. It's pretty awesome feature. Okay, let me drag you back over. Can we, I mean, I know. Is it Bill? Bill just got, Bill, right?
You talking to me?
Yeah, I know Bill just got rolling here, but are
I'm not rolling. I don't want to brag.
Okay, we don't want to get too excited, but I do feel like maybe we can move on.
Okay.
But just
Drag me
remember,
along.
yeah, you guys can always go back to public and find some resources. Bill's just being humble. All right. So we found a resource. It's pretty cool. We can now check this out. If I go down to group, and you know, you probably don't have any, I don't know if you have a group yet. Honestly, I'm not sure. I know there was some stuff going on at Estancia, for example. I'm not sure if you guys made a group, but let's say you have a group and you want to add something to it. Like, wow, I found this great resource on the Civil War. I want to add something to this group because frankly, I'm not pulling my weight and I want them to think I'm doing something. So what I can do, Martha and Melissa are like looking at me like that's actually happening. It's not good, not a good look. If I go up here to, I found my group, I belong to this group. If I click add resources, then I can choose copy from resources. That's kind of fun. So I can find a resource that I have saved, and I saved it. It's in my downloads, I believe. Look at that. So right now, if I check this box and copy it, I just contributed to the group. There it is. There it is. It's in the group. Now, if you don't have a group yet, then this last 30 seconds was meaningless. But once you get into a group, that'll be an easy way to share, to give input. Again, get in the group, add resources, copy from resources. Okay. If we look at apps, you know what? It's been a minute. Do you all see Google Drive? And then can you click on Google Drive resource app? And then is there a connect button? I'm trying to remember where everyone's at with this. If everyone should have that ability, I believe, to connect their Google Drive to their Schoology, because it's kind of cool. So yeah, you'll want to approve. You'll want to select approve when you see approve or deny. And then I don't know about YouTube. Is YouTube there too? Not sure. But you want to link your Google Drive to Schoology, because that way you can create documents in Google Drive and then you can share them with your students, and it will automatically share it with everybody. So they will each get a copy, which is kind of cool. So there's some power here, and you can see the one thing I don't like is that when I've already approved mine, I've already allowed it. You can see it's just kind of a strange little system here, and it's organizing them from the most recent, right? Most recent at the top. There's really no easy way to organize these. It's not super clean for me. But you know, if it's going from most recent to the last viewed, I guess that helps. It's not terrible. But again, I'm kind of OCD type A. And so I like everything in a folder, and it's like really, it's a sickness. So that's kind of what I wanted to make sure we did, which was adding the Google. Now here's one last thing we'll look at. When I go back to personal, I have I saved that, I downloaded that document, that packet really was like a folder full of Civil War activities. It's in my downloads. So now if I want, I can find it. So if you were able to download some content and from your resources, you can locate it, go to downloads to find it. And then mine's at the bottom here. And what I can do is click this little gear button, and I can either add it to a course, I can copy it, I can move it. So I want to make a copy of it. I'm going to copy to my Schoology 101 folder. So I'm going to keep a copy in my downloads folder. I'm also going to copy it into my Schoology 101. One of the radical things about the resources is you can build out your course like a sandbox course, and then you can copy the whole course into your resources so you have it. And then you can like pick and choose things that you want to add to the course. So for example, let's just say that was the case and I had this math manipulatives link. I could now go boom and I can add it to my course. I'm still in resources. I can add it to whatever course I want. So it's kind of cool. It's just like I said, it's a way to locate and save and share resources, and also just for you, build out something. And so you'll be ready in August when it's time to get back to school, and you'll have everything built out. And you're like in your sandbox courses. And we can look at that in a little bit, how it's very simple. It's the same idea where you're clicking the gear button and you can just decide what to do with it once we're in the course. It's very simple. I'll show you. Let's go to the communication piece. So I'm going to go to courses. And this is just for you to sit and get. In a couple of minutes, we're going to make a course and we're going to start adding stuff to it. So if I'm in one of my courses, Back to Schoology, these little Bitmojis, they're so dang cute. I know. I just love them. So communications, Martha Felix is doing a communication and collaboration session. I don't know when. She's done a few already. She'll be doing another one at some point. And there's information that's gone out about that. She'll be doing communication in much more detail, but I just wanted to touch upon it briefly. A couple of ways to communicate. If I go to course options, I can choose send message. And what that does is it allows me to send a message to all the members of my course. That could be co-teachers, students, and their parents. Or I can just pick and choose which ones. So if I wanted to send one just to all of the parents, I could type a message. I can add files or links. I could add a resource from my resources, which is kind of cool. I could even make a little audio or video recording. No time limit on these, by the way. So if you're long-winded, party on. So you can add your information here, and then you click send, and it will go to parents. So it's like a blast to all your parents in that course. Another way to communicate is by going over here. On the left side, you'll see members. So this will list all of my students. Right now, I just have Ricky Rouse. And you will see his parents listed below. It's got a lot of parents. There's a lot of, I'm not even gonna touch this. There's a lot going on in that house. But if I click this settings button, I can send a message, and that will just go to Ricky, one-on-one, like me and Ricky. Or I could send it to his parents. So boom. How you get the idea? How are you today? You know, blah, blah, you seem down with her, so you send it. So now if I'm Ricky, I'm pulling up Ricky's account. I will refresh the screen. You will see that a message notification popped up in his toolbar up top. Oh, my teacher cares for me. And then Ricky can make a recording or whatever. I don't know what Ricky's deal is. Pretty cool. It's all right. So that's one-to-one. So members, you're sending a message to a kid or to their parents. Course options, you can send a message to all of your parents or all of your students in that course. There's one more way to communicate, and that's with updates. So if I click on updates on the left-hand side, I can type an update, and that will show up on the activity feed. So don't forget to bring a pencil. And then I can add a picture. How about a file? I'm going to add a file. I'm going to look for a pencil. This is saved on my computer because I am salty. So again, I went to updates. This popped up, and then I typed my message. I clicked this button to add an image of that file. I could add a link. There's all these different things that we can add. The only thing we can't do at the moment is a poll. And then I can copy this to my other courses even. I mean, come on. This is great. Look at that. I feel so happy. There's the rich text editor. That's how you can make your text look a little more awesome. Okay. And then we also have this insert content button. This rich text editor looks very similar on so many items that you can post in Schoology. So I can insert content here as well. Now, one last thing. I'm going to get rid of this. This button right here. So this button right here is kind of important. If I click that, first of all, this little checkbox is allowing parents to see this update. So if parents are in your course, this makes it an announcement. So if I check this box, it will make this an announcement. I'm going to uncheck this because I don't want these teachers that are my fake parents to get this, so they'll be annoyed. So this makes it an announcement. And so watch what happens. I'll post it. So the announcement goes at the top of your course. It's right here. So it just gives it a little bit more oomph. It also goes in your activity, your recent activity. And so Ricky, I'm Ricky now. You'll see, here it is. So students see it here. And by checking that little box with the little bell, it makes it post not only here, but also in the course at the very top. So it just gives it a little bit more oomph. It's like an update on steroids. The difference between updates and a message, yes, that's correct, Mark. The only difference really is an update shows up on their activity feed, a message shows up in their message box up on the top toolbar. So that's the main difference. You are correct. Yeah, let's move on. It's time for you to make your sandbox course. So do me a solid and click on courses and go to the far right and select my courses. I'm still in as a student, so I'm going to jump on my teacher account. Go to my courses, please, and create a course, far right. So what you need to do is give it a name. I'll call it Schoology 101. Part 2. I don't even know. I'm just making up stuff at this point. So give it a decent name. This is just your sandbox. It's something I want you to play with this, because if you are a rostered teacher, a teacher with students, you're going to have classes in there. You're already going to have courses set up. They came from IT because Aries, there's the SIS, the Student Information System, synced, and it's pushing courses out. I don't want you to mess with those. Just leave them there. We're going to pretend like they don't exist for now. You can create these sandbox courses, and then you can play and just get messy with it. Section name does not matter. All of this will be entered automatically for you when it from the sync with Aries. You don't have to mess with this stuff. It's automatically named for you. But for these sandboxes, we have to do a couple of these. Subject area, just pick something new. Social studies. pick my grade level. I'll do 10th grade. And then for this one, for the grading periods, please, since it's a practice one, let's select professional development. It's at the very top. Or, I'm sorry, very bottom. So I'll leave this here for a sec. The only thing I did not have to mess with was section name. I just left that alone. I really want to make sure that your grading period is set to professional development. So that way there's no confusion. We don't need grades getting pushed out for your sandbox courses. I don't even know if that would work, but I don't want to test the water. So let's just keep that checked. And then you can choose create. So now you have a sandbox course we can play around with. We're going to start right in. Okay, it's exciting. It really is. First thing I'd like you to do, and I hope you've all created this course, is we're going to make a folder, a system. We need some structure because you can't just start plopping everything into your course. It'll just be a messy. It'll be hard for kids to find anything. So the way you do that is you go to add materials. I don't know why it's selecting it like that. And choose folder, add folder, the very first choice. And I'm going to create some folders. You can create whatever folders you want, but you know what? Before I create a folder, I want to show you some examples of different folder systems. I'll be brief. The one we call the daily. Here's an example of what the daily looks like. It's all about keeping it simple. Just organize your course by the day of the week. That's right. This is how some people like to do it. Day of the week, color-coded. It's pretty. Let's look at the archiver. Yeah, I found these names on Schoology's blog. It helps you control the flow of content by keeping everything in a few top-level topics or unit-based folders with subfolders nested inside of them. So, you guys know what kind of system you have. Unit 1, let's do it. I'm going to throw week 1 through 4 in Unit 1, 5 through 10, or whatever, however it breaks down. That would be the archiver style. How about by the book? That's right, by chapters of a textbook or a series of novels. It's up to you. This is by chapters, brief history of architecture. What a cool job. So you can see that that's the by the book style. And then last but not least, there's the minimalist. That's right. Let's keep it simple. You're organizing by material type. So this would be good for our kinder through 6 crowd, especially. All right, so we need to choose your style. What I'm going to do for today, just for the purpose of today, is I'm going to add a folder. And I'm going to call the first one Classroom Info. Classroom Information. And I'm going to give it a color. Because if we leave them all blue, I mean, come on. I mean, there's a fine line between being a minimalist and lazy. No judgment here, though. Okay, and then I'm not going to type a description yet. Dates. If you add a date, you can make the folder appear and leave within a certain window, right? So there's a beginning date and an end date. It's up to you. There are other ways to hide folders as well, but I'm going to leave them for now, no dates. And then you can decide if it's published or unpublished. I'll publish on a start date, which is the same as this. Published during the date range, right? So I'm just going to do published and create. And I will have a folder. I'm super excited. Now I'm going to make another folder. Add materials, add folder. I'm going to call this one pages. And that's just because I'm going over some of these different ideas. Pages, discussions, different things like that. So I'm going to keep making folders. You can make however many you want for this course. I'm going to make one called discussions. And I will make it yellow. And I will make one last folder. This is exciting. Finally get to do something instead of listening to me the whole time. Sorry. All right. So I've got 4 folders. They're really pretty. It's a little rainbow. They're Skittles. Not a really big skim, more of an M&M guy. You can grab these folders and move them as well. If you're like, ooh, I want assignments to be above discussions, you just click and drag. See that? Oh, so you can drop them wherever you want. You can embed folders as well. Click. And then you have to kind of just finagle it. It's a little, there you go. You'll see it kind of like indents in a little bit, the gray area that just kind of embedded. See that? Okay. Good times. Now, there is also, I'll show you what it looks like to have a description on a folder. So if I want to edit this discussions folder, I can click the little gear button, the settings button, and go to edit. And then I can paste in. I have something already typed. I'll just paste it in. My rich text editor, I can make it look pretty. I can save it. And then it has a description under it. It's up to you if you like that look or not. I don't know. That's your call. So you can add descriptions, it will show them. I mentioned before that you can unpublish folders. If you don't want it to be too confusing, if you want to map out the whole semester, and you have this a ton of content and lots of folders, you may choose to click the gear button and unpublish. And that way, your kids won't see them until you go in and choose publish. Because, it can be overwhelming sometimes to see too much. You can even like embed a bunch of folders if you want to break it down into, but listen, part of me feels like if you have too many folders like embedded, it's just going to be too hard for your kids to find anything, right? There's that fine line between being super organized and like just annoying and difficult for some of your students. Some of your kids are like, I don't know where it's at because it's like those little Russian dolls. We have to get into like 5 folders to find it. I don't know. That could be a problem for some of your students. So I like a folder system, but it's got to be, it's got to be organized, thoughtful. I'd like to add a page. We're getting near I was planning on stopping at 3, so we're getting close to the end here. I would like to add a page. Pages are cool. They're informational content. I love them. I really do. So the way you do that is you go to add materials. Now remember, I didn't tell you this, so you can't remember it unless you're, I don't know, unless you're really amazing with the telepathic thing. But Melissa Price, I just pointed to her. She's going to be doing an assignments Schoology session. So she'll go into more detail. But I'm going to show you how to add a page. So pages are informational content. They're pretty cool. You see it looks very similar to the add folder. Very similar. So I'm going to call this one the welcome back to Schoology. Let's call it my welcome back. And then I have something already typed, so I'll just copy it. And I'll paste it in. There's like the number, but the number list, there's bulleted list, there's all those things that you can do. I made it italicized. It was already that way. So when I pasted it in, it was set for me. But there are lots of things you can mess with up here. There's also the insert content button is more beefy now. There's more oomph to it. So you can add, when we did the update, when I showed you how to do an update, when I did don't forget to bring your pencil, this insert content was not as robust. Now you can do all kinds of fun things. You can plug in videos from YouTube. You can grab a resource from your Google Drive. You can find images, and there's lots of cool things you can do. There's symbols and equations if you're doing like a math thing. And then there's all of these other items that you can still plug in. Pretty awesome. So like if I want to grab something from resources, it doesn't really make sense on this particular this example because I'm doing like a welcome message, but if I wanted to, I could just go boom and I can attach it, and then it'll be down here. I'll be able to click it. Again, you're gonna have to just play around with a lot of these things until Martha and Melissa get their hands on you. This is learning objectives. So if you want to align things to various standards, you can. You can individually assign or assign this to the entire course. So if I have something I want to assign to an individual, I click and I can assign it to that person. I just start typing their name. Pretty cool. Publish or not published. Right now it is published. And then this, I'll show you what this is, this button. Let me just click create and show you what this looks like so far. So here's what my welcome back message looks like. The kids will have to click it to open it. So they will click it and then it opens up, and boy, that looks messy because my formatting got a little goofy. Wasn't expecting that. But if I go over here to my settings, let me go back into it and I want to edit it. Ooh, yes, John, I'll show you in a second. So if I click this little button, the ABC, it will display in line. So now when I save it, it displays it online. Of course, this looks messy because my number, I have to just hit backspace a couple times to bump those up, but it will show up. And if I'm looking at my student 1, which I don't have a student in this particular course, unfortunately, they'll see it'll be in line. They won't have to click it to open it. And then I can, if I want, I can drag it. So it's up at the top. And it'll just be there when they get there. If you have students in your course, then you can go to course options, because John had a question. Is there a way to access student view? You can click course options and then view course as. And then you would choose one of your students. You know what I'm saying? View course as. So that's how you can do that, John. But you need someone in your course to do that. So that's where maybe you guys can team up a little bit and have a couple of you go into each other's class, and then you can like view it as them. You know, I had mentioned that you can take content and you can put it into your resources. And I think that's important. And that might be where we kind of start to wind down. If you want to take your materials, you can. There's a couple of ways you can do it. I can take this. Let's see, is it here? Yes. There's your options. Once I build this out, I can click options and then save course to resources. That's one way of doing it. I can go, each time I do something, I can click the edit button and copy it to, or save to resources as well, by clicking the little gear button next to the item that I just added. So if I just added this, let's say I already added this course to my resources last week. Well, if I just added this guy, how about I just, from now on, I'll just go boom, save to resources, it'll add it in. Then I just tell it where I want it to go. If I do the whole course, save course to resources, I tell it where I want it to go, what folder, and then if I want to make an additional, add it into a subfolder, that's fine. I'm just putting it into this collection and then I submit it and it's going to be in there. So that way you've got it built out. It's waiting for you to start plugging into your real courses in August. Oh man, there's just like so many cool things we can do. There's like student completion, which is kind of cool. And I don't know if Melissa will get into that. I'm not sure, but you can set up student completion. So they have to complete certain things in order. So let's see, I don't have anything in this folder yet, but I'll show you from here. So student completion is, I can add these requirements and then make them do certain things first. Like I want to make them do this first. They must complete it, and then I can add a requirement. And right now this is not making much sense because I don't really have a lot of content in here. I have a bunch of folders, but it'll require that the kids do this in a sequential order. Kind of awesome. And you can do this at a folder level. So once you have things in here, then you can see it says student completion off to the right. I have nothing because I have no content in that folder yet, but within that folder, I can make them go in order, which is pretty awesome. So much information. I'm glad you guys are getting a head start. And we're here to help as well. It's kind of what we'd love to do. So I encourage you to jump on to Martha and Melissa's when they do their courses. That information has been shared out, I believe. And if not, just shoot me an email and I'll let you know when those are happening.